Welcome to City Wave Church. As we go over today's message, let's go back from last week's message, Unboxing Your Future. We went over Unboxing Your Future to unpack what can you do to impact your better life and how you can move forward. Now, today we're going to be going over Unboxing Your Heart. So, what is in your box that could be unboxed on the issues that we might have today? What will we find? Love, resentment, peace or anxiety, faith or doubt. Your heart is centered for your life that influences your thoughts, maybe some actions, and the relationship between you and the Lord. Proverbs 4:23, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Your heart is the wellspring of life. Luke 6:45, a good man brings out good things out of the good stored up into your heart, for the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. Here are a few examples. Your heart reflects who you are, Matthew 15:18. Your heart is where your transformer begins, Ezekiel 36:26. Your heart determines your direction, Psalms 37:4. Your heart matters to you and the Lord. You don't want to play around with your heart. Your heart is very precious to not just you, but the Lord. The Lord wants to help you get the best you can out of life. Wants to have you have the best heart and intentions that will bring forth your faith even better. In today's world, we're filled with so much anger and resentment, anxiety, maybe some regret for things. But we need to understand that the Lord is there to help us, guide us through all of this. We don't need to look at it as, I'm going through this alone, because you're not going through it alone. Even though you might be actually alone in your life, you could be a single person or whatever, but the Lord is always there. So therefore, you're not alone. That's why your heart matters to God. God doesn't just look at the outward actions. He explains your motives and your heart posture. 1 Samuel 16:7, people look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at your heart. He just cares about who you are on the inside and also the outside, but he wants you to grow inside so then you can grow bigger in your faith and explain the faith to others that can spread the word. Why do we box up our hearts? Psalms 139:23-24. Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. Here are a few other ones we can guide ourselves into. Fear of being hurt, 1 John 4:18. Past wounds and forgiveness, Psalms 147:3. Hidden sin or shame, 1 John 1:9. It's about how you treat other people and how you can treat others. This message is not just about how you can treat people. It's about how the Lord sees your heart. It could be really good or hardened. You don't want to have that hardened heart. Once that happens, you're done, because the hardened heart means you don't care about people or others. If you don't care for yourself, and that starts with yourself as well too, you must start at the very low bottom, building you up before you can go out and, maybe pastor other people and maybe just being a good friend to some of those people. Because there are some people that I know in the pastoral field, for example. Over the course of the years, I came across some. And some of those people, honestly, probably shouldn't be at, the the pulpit. They shouldn't even be at the front of the church. They should still be growing on themselves. Now, who's to say that I'm not any better, right? I have my flaws. Yes, but we all do. No one's perfect. Only the Lord is perfect. So as we dig deeper into this message, please keep in mind that broken hearts could be mended, but some people are just too much, I guess, maybe full themselves in a way sometimes, and they want to be all that, and you don't want that. You want to put on a front, meaning that their hearts might have some good intentions, sure, but as we look at that issue, some people put on the persona thinking that it's okay to, hurt people, make fun of people, do things. And we don't need that. We need good-hearted, strong-hearted people to grow in our faith. There's no reason why we need to box up our hearts and have it where people don't care. It means that your heart is boxed up the wrong way. Emotional numbness, spiritual distance, and struggle to love and trust others. Just like I was just explaining, that emotional numbness could be also as well. You want to hold back. You're scared. You don't know what else to do. I don't want to let my heart go out to people. Maybe you could have like a relationship that could have gone wrong, and you're afraid to move on because you're afraid that, hey, if I get that heart out to someone else, it could be destroyed again. Spiritual distance. You need to have a good, sound mind. Even you can even not have a good sound mind, but I'll explain that. Your spiritual distance between you and the Lord will actually grow better in time. You want to have a good heart intention to pick up that Bible and start reading it, but also too, there are some people that are bad that will pick up that Bible and then do the same thing. So it's not like you always have to have the good intentions in the heart, but you have to have it where you want to get to that point. Once you know you're going to get to that point, your heart is starting to be better at things. Now, struggle to love and trust others, just like I was explaining previously. When your heart is boxed up, it blocks the flow of love, worship, and obedience. You don't want to have your heart boxed up where it's going to block people for coming in and loving you. You want those people to be able to come to you, maybe even just to love you, and maybe for help. You might have a friend that wants to be able to help you, but what are you supposed to do if you just keep on blocking them out? Your worship. Always keep that in mind. You worship the Lord in many ways. Music is number one that our society has put worship word on, but we have many others, and we could dig into that in the next series. And obedience. You got to have obedience for the Lord. You cannot just, go through life without that. I'm going to explain that more in detail right now. Me, when I was even previously, when I was like even about 6 months ago, a little bit before I started the church, even though that I knew I had the obedience as well too, and I was doing other things, I thought, okay, well, in the morning time, I can just go on to TikTok and stroll through. It's early in the morning, I'm groggy, I'm tired, and I just I'm gonna stroll through videos, and here I am almost 2 hours later sometimes. I don't just sit there and just stroll through it. I do other things, whatever, but strolling through it and not having obedience to grow my faith. Because I could take those 2 hours and grew my faith a lot better than strolling on a social media app. So what I did was I did a little each time, breaking it down, taking 15 minutes off, another 15 minutes off. Honestly, I barely even go on the app very often, even though that we are actually on there. So that's kind of embarrassing. But, I still go on there, but just not like I used to, because I have obedience now. So as we do our unboxing on our next point, we're going to unboxing and surrendering your heart to the Lord. Jeremiah 29:13. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. Examine your heart is one example. Psalms 26:2. Surrender your heart to God. Proverbs 3:5. And allow God to transform your heart. Romans 12:2. Just like I explained a little bit ago. You want to transform your heart to a better cause on things. You don't want to just say, well, I'm going to be able to just do whatever I want because it's my life. Who gave you your life? The Lord. So you owe your life to the Lord. So be obedient and start looking in the bigger picture. What's more important? For example, are you going to get up in the morning time and stroll through like a social media app for like maybe an hour or two? Or are you going to pick up the Bible? Or maybe you could just turn on a spiritual movie, some worship music, something. You could change those habits by just replacing with a better, different habit that's better for you than what you might be doing. Letting God heal those broken places in your heart. God wants to do basic heart surgery, removing the bitterness, the shame, and the fear, and replacing it with peace, freedom, and love. Psalms 34:18. The Lord is close to the heartbroken and saves those who are crushed in the spirit. Living with unboxed heart. You don't want to keep it all boxed up. But maybe we could unbox it, right? Matthew 22:37. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. Few of them here. Walk in love. 1 Corinthians 16:14. Forgiveness quickly. Colossians 3:13. Let God lead your heart. Proverbs 16:9. You could always refer to those to have a better outstanding. What an unboxed heart looks like for you in the future. It'll help you love freely. It forgives without seeking a score. You will worship deeply. And final one, walk boldly in obedience, which is a very, very important thing to do. We need to understand that the Lord comes first before anyone or anything else. So we need to start changing it. So as we wrap up our series coming up, I want you to take these into consideration. Proverbs 4:23, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Spend this week examining your heart with the Lord. Surrender any of the area that you've been keeping a secret and hidden away. Give it to the Lord and let God transform you from the inside out, because it can be done. So as we wrap up soon on our series, please know that we got some really amazing things coming up. And these series you don't want to miss, because just like the unboxing series, we have so many deepful, meaningful ones coming for you. Because you don't want to have that hardened heart. That's the thing is a person of faith. Like I said a little earlier, once you have that hardened heart where you don't care about anything or anyone, it's almost like you giving up basically. Because even if one thing does not enter your heart to even make it a little bit soft for the Lord, that means you're gone. The Lord doesn't want you to have a hardened heart, but you are given free will to do what you are with yourself. So let's just start packing this up a little bit better as we pack in the good things into our box and releasing those bad habits and hang-ups and breakups. We need to start being obedient to the Lord. We need to worship better, and we need to understand that you should love one another. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this week's service. And we got some amazing messages, like I said, coming up. You don't want to miss them. And we have an amazing Easter service coming up. You don't want to miss it. We're going to spend the next 3 days on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday unpacking the most eventful, the most impactful history in your entire life. As someone that has been in the church, and I went over this last service, that our church is like a different kind of way that we're going to be doing things. Most people I spoke to in the past would love to see this more. A lot of churches are, like I said last week, cookie cutter, exact same church. We don't need that. We need it different. And what we're going to do is we're going to be unpacking it, like I said, in the 3 days. We're going to have 3 different services at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's where you can find the Last Supper, the death, and the resurrection. We do not want to put out one service and then you're inclined to either watch one or all of them. What we need to do is about unpacking, just like this, unboxing our past and our future and the whole life. We need to unbox the life of Jesus and what it means to be in your faith. A lot of churches, I know, I say this a lot of churches are more geared just by getting people into the church, packing that church, and having a service as like one service. But when I spoke to little churches, they said that this 3-day event works out better for them because you're getting the information. You're not just getting one thing. Because in a regular church service is about, in say, 45 minutes to an hour, depending, right? Maybe an hour, and if the pastor goes over, an hour and 20. But just stick with the 60 minutes. You got 20 minutes of worship, another maybe 5 minutes or so of little messages. And then, by the time people take their seats, you have about close to 23 minutes probably to give a message. Okay. So that means on an Easter service, you only have like probably maybe about 6-7 minutes, give or take, to explain each 3-day event, one day after another. And that's not a lot of time to unpack the most eventful thing in history. So we're going to be doing a lot different. You should be able to get your information from a different kind of way that we can bring it to you. There's no way that we want to put a message together just like that, where you're only getting about 6-7 minutes or so per day. No, we need to do it differently. We need to make sure that you, as a viewer, get the information so that you can understand what the Lord has done for us. So thank you so much, and I'll catch you next week.